Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the Jason Damico show, and thanks for tuning in or watching in if you're on YouTube. Available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Simplecast, and all those other mediums. And our guests today are coming in from remotely from the D.C. area, and they sound like the Buzzcocks meets the Kinks, says former Foo Fighters guitarist Franz Stale. Consisting of DC legendary notorious punk rock musicians, Skeeter Thompson of Scream, Mark Riffle.
Riffle.
I had it right the first time.
You got it right the first time.
HR of the Bad Brains, Scott Garrett of The Cult, Peter Moffat of Government Issue, to name a few. Their unique and rich punk rock roots have created a modern power pop sound. Their debut self-titled EP was released today on 4/20, an homage to the lead singer off the record of 4/20, a tongue-in-cheek play on the current state of affairs, the United States of marijuana use and legalization. Who knew that after all these years, a DC punk rock band would still be edgy and politically relevant to the current state of affairs? Please welcome to the Jason Damico show my new friends from Instagram, the Tommy Models.
Thanks for having us, Jason.
Yeah, thank you.
So you guys have quite the resume between the five of you.
Yeah, I come from the original DC punk rock scene, and I know a lot of people from that community. A lot of great musicians have come out of that community. Gone on to play with bigger bands. And Kyle is a super talented vocalist that we have. He's played in several bands too. He was in a band called, what was the first band you were in, Kyle?
Grand Revival.
Grand Revival, yes.
Revival. Before that was the Bad Rats with just my high school buddies, and then Grand Revival, and then
Unsullied. And then Unsullied. So yeah.
That's cool. Kyle, love the vocals, man. I heard you guys on the I don't even know what song it was. I've got the lyrics here. You think you look so clean with a step to the left, step to the right. What song is that?
That's I Say Go.
Okay, because it's only like the first 20 seconds. That's what hooked me, was just you guys with the intro and then coming in with that great vocal. I'm a fan, man. Like, I haven't even heard that. When I went to the SoundCloud link, it was down because it was limited time only. But now,
right.
At least we can hear it.
Well, I think for this, most of the credit needs to go to Mark. He just, he got in contact with someone who knew me and got me into the studio, and I sang with him a couple times. I really loved it, but he really writes all the music. He writes the lyrics. He sings it for me first and then tells me, do something with that. And I go, okay, we'll do.
Cool. Well, let's just go into your beginning stages real quick. And usually the way I do this is we go back pretty far, but since we've got more than one member on, however you guys see fit, if you want to talk about the beginning stages of the group,
sure.
Mark,
sure.
Maybe you want to expand on the inspiration behind it.
Yeah. As you can see from our bio, that I come from the DC punk rock scene, and I spent several years playing with HR of the Bad Brains, recorded on their second album, and wrote the music for the album. I didn't write the lyrics, but the music for their second album. And from that, I played in other bands along the way, but I kind of dropped out of music for a while, and just, for one reason or the other, I got back into it and started writing music again. I've always had I guess I'm lucky. I've always had the ability to write somewhat good songs, and that attracts it attracts a lot of good musicians. People, appreciate good music, and so it, kind of brings in a lot of good people. And a lot of people that I know have gone on to bigger and better things from that whole DC scene.
Well, it's cool that you guys have Skeeter involved.
Yeah, Skeeter, he's in Troy, New York right now, and he couldn't join us this evening. But
believe it or not, I've been to Troy, New York.
You have?
Yes.
I've never been there.
Yes.
I saw it on a map, and that's about all I know. I know it's near Buffalo, I think.
If I remember correctly, it's like 2.5 hours directly north of New York City. It's on the thruway.
Right.
So that's funny. I've been there once.
How was it?
I liked it. It was
You
pretty
liked
cool.
it? That's cool. Yeah.
I mean,
he seems pretty.
I've got New York roots, so
Okay, that's
New
cool.
York's stomping grounds for me. But that's way up there. That's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he went up there to work on a project, and the whole pandemic occurred while he was up there, so he kind of got stuck. He kind of got stuck there.
Right.
So we haven't. We were fortunate that we were able to get everything recorded before all this occurred, and but unfortunately, we weren't able to record. We were supposed to shoot our music video that weekend before everything really happened, and we had to cancel everything. So we have no music video, unfortunately, for the release. But
which I was looking forward to, because I've never done one of those before.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but I think the music speaks for itself.
Well, grab my ear. Not that
That's
means
good.
anything, but
it's good.
It was, how
something.
Instagram is. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of noise, and I was like, damn, this sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that's what when I started getting back into writing music, I was fortunate enough to meet Kyle through one of his family members who works with me. And, we've just been working together steadily at this project to get it released. And, we work together. I write most of the music and the lyrics, but he helps me along the way also, because his vocal abilities are just amazing. And it just brings the music to life. Because I think there's a lot of, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, it's just, I didn't want to have a singer that didn't have the chops.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of bands out there that have really good sound, but then, the singer's kind of lackluster.
Right.
So, and I was very fortunate to find Kyle, or we found each other. And, we've just been working on this project. So.
Well, I was going to ask the both of you a couple of major influences, if you could elaborate as far as, the shaping of the band sound, but also just personally.
Well, Kyle, I'll let Kyle go first, but I already know one of Kyle's major influences is Rush. But go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm a big Rush fan. I love Rush. Rest in peace, Neil.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a hard day.
I got to see them on tour a couple of years ago before.
I got to see him on the Time Machine tour, so I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I made that choice.
Yeah, I was very thankful that I got to see that before he went. Once in a lifetime opportunity. But obviously Rush, I'm a huge Zeppelin fan as well. I mean, they're probably my favorite band. That's where, Robert Plant, where I get a lot of the high note vocals from. A lot of the screams I like to do just come from that. And then I like all kinds of music, but in a weird, eclectic sort of way. Like I like a lot of classic rock, and then, I can't really tell you. My influences come from all over the place. I'm just not a huge fan of most modern rap, pop, or country. But beyond that, it's all good to me.
You and I both, my friend. Not disparagingly saying anything against those folks that have been on the show already, but it's the same.
It's just not my thing. Right. More power to you. You're a musician too. You do your thing, but I don't like it.
What about you, Ringmaster?
Well, I'm pretty much, Kyle's kind of an old soul and a young body, and we have very similar tastes in music. My music is the 70s. Badfinger,
Oh, hell yeah.
the Sweet, you know, that power pop sound, the Raspberries, that whole power pop sound.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Zeppelin was always a current, you know, music in my life, and Rush. I always stayed in the more rock arena. I never got farther into that, more into punk rock as I got older.
Did you ever have an affinity towards the Cars?
Yes, I love the Cars. And actually, if you look behind me, that painting right there is Rick Ocasek's painting. It's actually signed and dedicated to me. I met him several years ago, and we were talking about him producing this actual EP, but he was a very busy guy, and it never came to fruition. But
oh my God,
yeah. So the Cars are like probably Elliot Easton, Benjamin Orr, Rick Ocasek. Those guys are gods to me. I love that band.
Same, and that's
major influence.
And I brought them up because, quite honest, I got to be honest with you. I don't know why I brought them up. They just came to mind because some of the influences that you were saying, it's like that punk background, but also the songs, like the songwriting chops and the production. I mean,
yep.
That introduced me to the Cars years ago, and I was enamored. I fell in love with the production and the sounds,
the songwriting.
Yeah,
yep.
And of course, the songwriting is the staple of it.
Yeah, their first album for me is
right.
Paramount. It's just amazing. So many hits on that album.
Yeah,
just amazing. Sure. They don't make music like that. I can only think of maybe for me, maybe Green Day has the same kind of staying power. You know, writing hit music.
I always thought that Green Day was perhaps like the modern Beatles songwriting caliber. And that's a large statement to say. But
yeah, no, definitely.
That's a big one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like I'm
that's a big one.
If I'm stretching,
I'm a huge Beatles fan, so that's a big one. But I mean, I won't dispute it.
Well, speaking of other influences, I think the Beatles obviously were a huge influence, but also, and people, when the Beatles split up, people went one way or the other. And there's John Lennon fans who I loved, his unique songwriting skills. But also for me, for something about Paul McCartney's songwriting, it just clicked. And he was also a major influence. And he was a major influence with
George Harrison
George
too.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. And let's not forget
Ringo.
Yeah.
He had a couple hits in the 70s. Yeah.
Woo.
But I think that kind of sound, that power pop sound that McCartney had, which was instrumental with Badfinger, also played a heavy role in my songwriting. You know, when I write music, I don't really sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write a song today. It just comes to me.
Well, and that was my next bullet point, was creative process, but you just knocked it out, which is great. So, I can attest, I'm very similar with that. It's either there or it's not. The inspiration's there or it's not. You capture it, and there you go.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So you both agree then, kind of the same.
Oh yeah.
Process
I can never force myself to write music, or what I've noticed that, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but it seems a lot of bands try to re-engineer music. They'll listen to songs and then try to write their own stuff by kind of re-engineering other older songs. So
right.
And I'm not going to mention any names, but no, for me, it's got to be completely, just on the moment, right there when it's happening. And Kyle and I I write most of the music, but we've also collaborated on music also. And he's a super talented songwriter also. So it's for us, it's a really good combination when it comes to the creative process.
For sure. Well, the evidence is there, and the 30 seconds that I've heard, I can't wait to hear more.
When we get off the air, I'll send you the link to the SoundCloud.
All right, cool.
I had
Sounds
to
good.
shut it down, but I'll set it back up for you.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Right,
I logged into my Amazon Music and I downloaded it and I was like, oh, all right, this sounds great.
Well, did you guys?
That's true. It is. If you
say that again.
No, it's everywhere. It's on all music platforms.
Cool. But we'll have those links in the description boxes on all the platforms that the episode will be on.
Okay, great.
And while we're on the subject, tell everybody real quick what the platforms are.
Well, you have your typical ones: iTunes, Google Play. I'd have to look at the distribution service to really tell you all of them. Spotify, Pandora. We were on Sirius XM. And then there's a lot of obscure music platforms. Deezer, I think Deezer is one of them. Yeah, Deezer, Amazon. So anywhere where there is music, you will find our music.
Cool.
Find the Tommy Models.
Well, we'll kind of talk about punk real quick. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I was never really much of a punk guy until, again, like the Police came along and the Cars. And again, I'm a millennial, so what do I know? But those,
right,
those are the guys, and even the Chili Peppers to a certain extent, because Flea talked a lot about Black Flag and some of the a lot of the things that were going on there.
Right.
But I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on punk music. Why it was relevant then, why is it still relevant now? And one of the things that I learned about it was, and being a rocker blues guy, was punk really ushered in kind of that, it ushered in more range for songwriting, I think, and for different topics to be relevant. And I don't know if you guys agree with that, but just wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle, are you much into punk rock? I don't know if you are or not. I think you're more rock. But
I get it, but I'm not.
He's not into it. Yeah.
I mean, but like more than the other genres I named earlier. Like there are some punk bands and songs I do like the Clash are great.
Right.
Of course, the Ramones, Black Flag, Misfits. Like there's some great punk music out there, but most of the time not into it.
Gotcha.
Not a huge fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, I come from that era. I'm a little bit older than Kyle and you. So I grew up. I actually lived through that whole time period, and for me, it was explosive.
Yeah.
Going to see the original Black Flag at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Wow.
I'm dating myself now, but
yeah, I was like, damn.
Lucky. Did you ever get into like the Motorhead stuff earlier on? Because Lemmy had a lot of punk influence too.
Motorhead. You know what? I was actually into them early on, but I was also into like the early Scorpions, UFO, Motorhead. That whole range of like harder rock. Not so much like heavy metal, but although they might be considered heavy metal, for me it was just rock. But that also, it's kind of a crossover. It was very similar to punk rock, but at the same time, it was still stayed mainstream into the rock genre. But for me, punk rock was something I lived through. Spent several years of my life playing in punk bands, playing in HR of the Bad Brains, so touring all over the U.S.
Yeah.
And back in the day when people actually went to shows.
Right. Right.
So
now,
playing.
Who knows when we're going to go to the next one?
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, touring real quick. You said that. I was curious to hear from you guys. real quickly, best and worst gig experiences, if you have any.
Well, I think Kyle might have some bad experiences.
Nothing.
Didn't you have that? Wasn't there one time the guy when the technician, the engineer yelled at you or something?
Oh, shit.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of.
Yeah.
You don't need to use any names.
Experience.
You can keep anonymity.
I mean, there have been a few times where I've gotten yelled at, but I mean, I was a young kid. Fuck off. Like, sorry.
Right, exactly. But you know what? Kyle,
I've learned.
His voice speaks for himself, and when he sings, some little guy on the board, being, not too polite, I think that shuts him down when Kyle opens up his vocal range.
Right.
I feel like as of late, sound people like me. I mean, I'm always polite to the sound guy. Always. That's just how you have to operate if you want to have a successful gig. Just be nice to the sound guy all the time.
Yep. That's true. That's exactly right. No matter how bitchy they can be. I've played so many different, shows and little places and huge places, So I think my worst probably show that I ever did, believe it or not, was at CBGB's.
Oh.
And that was, I played there twice. I was in another punk band before I was in HR, and we were on a small tour with several other bands from DC. And the guy who put together the promotion, the tour, didn't do a good job of promoting it, and we ended up playing CBGB's with barely anybody there. It was kind of embarrassing, you know. I mean, it was cool to play CBGB's. Now, little did I know, a couple of years later, I'd be playing there to a packed house, when I was in HR. But that's just the way the music,
it happens. I've
happens.
Had a few myself.
Yeah. So there's good gigs and bad gigs. So, it's just,
Yeah.
Well, future plans for you guys as far as it's quite unpredictable right now, but
and nobody really,
for sure.
nobody really predicted what was going to happen. So, unfortunately, I think until there's an actual vaccine, things are going to still be kind of unpredictable. And playing shows. We wanted to do a release party this week. The weekend passed, and we couldn't because everything's shut down.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but I think everybody has to stay safe, remain at home, and let's just get through this, and then happy days will hopefully be here again.
And enjoy the holiday.
Exactly. Happy 420. If you didn't, Jason, if you didn't realize, one of the songs, actually one of the songs on the EP is 420.
Yeah, I saw a really good meme today. I don't remember. Oh man, it was so good. You guys may have seen it. I don't know. It was like they were alluding to somebody in the marijuana community as like Santa Claus. It was like, oh, it was yesterday. Today's the 20th, right? Yeah. So it was
Today's the 20th, yeah.
It was yesterday. It was like, oh, it's 420 Eve.
420 Eve.
Yeah, like it was just I can't remember who it was, but it was really funny. I can't remember the guy that
they 420 Christmas meme, is that?
They made like somebody. Oh, maybe
it was the night before Smoke Day.
I think it was on Snoop Dogg's Instagram. I think it was on his Instagram.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna look that up.
I'm pretty sure it was on there.
On Snoop Dogg's.
You know what? Let me
I'll have to check that out. Right now. Yeah.
Let me see real quick before Zoom kicks us off. Oh, it wasn't on his. I don't know who it was. Anyway, it's out there. It's funny.
Have to find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick on production, where did you guys track this EP, was it kind of like remotely tracked? Any interesting production choices or console gear, outboard gear, anything you guys want to talk about real quick?
Well, the bulk of the music was recorded at the Bias Studio, which is in Fairfax County, Virginia.
It's in Falls Church.
Falls Church.
It's like across from the State Theater.
Exactly. No. Bias. It's over off 395.
Oh yeah, right. You're right.
Yeah. So wrong studio.
All the studios.
We're fortunate that I know my producer is also a professor who teaches music engineering at the American University. So we were able to use some of the studio time there when they have classes, and we were able to get in there and actually do a class and record a song at the same time. And
is that Matt?
That's Matt Twelford.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's our producer. Yeah, Matt's number one. He's a great guy.
Genius. He's a genius.
Yeah, no, I did a little bit of research on him before we went on, and yeah, definitely knows his gear and knows his he's got his chops for sure.
Oh yeah.
He knows how to make something sound good for sure.
We've been working with Matt for well, we've been working with Matt for a couple of years now, trying to get this produced. And we actually, recorded a lot of different music. We probably have maybe 15 songs recorded, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff, actually.
That's good.
We have a lot of other material, but we, for budgetary reasons, we had to go with an EP to keep things under budget. And because you know how things are today, there's very little funding from anywhere. It's not like it was back in the 90s when, there were CD sales and money to be made,
right,
and touring. Matt's done a lot of amazing stuff. And when we get offline, I'll send you some of the earlier stuff we did. Some of the stuff is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. It's a little bit different from what we're doing now, but Kyle's vocals are just
I love Hypnotized. That's probably one of my old favorites, just because you let me go off a little bit on that one.
Yes, and Jason, I'll send that song to you. You'll really hear Kyle's vocals come alive in that song.
Well, let's talk about vocals real quick. What would you say is if you had to give some advice out there to some younger singers, kind of in our field, rock, punk, kind of hardcore-ish world, what would you say?
Man, well, I mean, don't forget to breathe, and
that's a good place to start.
Don't forget to breathe, because if you're on stage, sometimes if you like to be active, you get a little crazy, and sometimes you forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. I don't know, just I actually took like a college course. Like I went to Nova for like 2 semesters and did like a vocal class with like a classically trained operatic singer named Helen Hui. She was amazing. She was like 5 foot tall. She was awesome. She taught me a lot of vocal techniques, and the one that she taught me is when you're breathing naturally, you know how it in your diaphragm comes in and out, you feel it expand. Just fill your entire midsection with air. Just take big breath in, just try to fill every space that you can feel. And then, try to keep that as your routine when you're singing. Just fill up, sing, fill up, sing. That would be my advice.
For sure. I had a lot of great vocal teachers in my day, and that was the same trend throughout. It didn't matter if they were operatic.
It's breathing, man. Yeah.
That's it. Well, I've got one, and this kind of is a decent segue into the last question that I ask everybody. And thank you guys so much for taking the time to be on. Really,
thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us. I already know what your question is, though.
Because you've already seen one of the interviews.
No, but I'm gonna assume this is the question. Why the name the Tommy Models?
But we can the question real quick.
No, okay.
Go ahead and answer that.
So when I was just starting to get back into music and writing songs, I was traveling to Japan a lot. My good friend Scott Garrett, who played in the Cult, was playing in a really popular Japanese rock band there. So I used to go visit him all the time. And I don't know if you've ever been to Japan, but jet lag is
not yet.
Is really bad sometimes.
Right.
And, I couldn't sleep for 2 days, and when I finally went to sleep, I slept for like 10 hours. Like I was like Rip Van Winkle, and when I woke up, the name came to me in a dream, like right when I woke up.
Wow.
So so I just Googled the name and looked on YouTube and Googled it and realized that nobody had the name, and just took it from there. I thought, wow, this is a good omen. This is it came to me in a dream.
That's
so
awesome.
That's where the name comes from.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know? I thought I told you.
I didn't know that. No, you never told me that.
Yeah. So it came to me in a dream. Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
A jet lag dream.
So if you guys could go back in time to your 15-year-old selves, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give them?
Kyle.
Get a job, invest your money, and learn how to file your taxes properly.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
That's the shit I'd say, and that's the shit I wish I'd known.
I went to business school, and they still didn't teach us how to do that. Is that a hoot?
I don't know if I still know how to do it properly. But.
No, those are always good skills to adhere to. I think.
What about you, Mark?
I think if there's something you want to do in life, I think you need to pursue it. And when you do pursue it, you need to do it at 110% and give it your all. And don't go in one direction or the other. Stay focused and complete the task that you're trying to achieve.
That's great.
Very insightful.
Any last words, gentlemen?
Well, thanks for having us. Happy
thank
420.
you. Everybody check out the EP while you celebrate.
Right. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for having us, Jason.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, you guys have been watching or listening to the Jason Damico show. Check out the Tommy models in the description boxes below or to the side or wherever you're at. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to their channels, and we'll see you all next one. Peace.
All right. Take care.